Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, let me tell you, when I was a musician in London, I came out of the army and I went into the pro scene in London, and I had this job at a nightclub, and the only thing that I was really interested in was modern jazz. I wanted to play the trombone, but I made an effort to start singing then, so that was my first attempt at singing. But what I was interested in was playing the trombone, and I remember that the only thing that I knew about the Beatles was that it was just another pop group, which to me at that time I didn't think too much of the pop groups, because I was into listening to the music of what I considered were really talented musicians who had great musicality and skill on their instruments, which certainly when they started, the Beatles didn't really have that. Well, my only connection, if you call it that, with the Beatles was by association with someone who came in one night. A drummer in the band I was playing in came in one night, and he said, he said, these kids who come into our musical profession and think that they can learn things in 5 minutes, and of course they can't. He said, I've been teaching this guy, a young kid, to read. He thought that he should learn to read. He's just a pop drummer, nothing special. And anyway, he wanted to learn to read, and I've been trying to teach him. Well, he wasn't really that interested, and he wasn't that great as a student. He said, but wanted to pay, and he wanted to play, so I've been teaching him. Well, he came in. He came in today, and he said, look, I'm not going to be coming anymore because we've made a record. This group that I'm playing with, we've made a record, and he said, we think that we're going to have some success with it, so I don't think I'll need to read anymore. He said, I just don't think I'm going to need to read that. So all of the musicians in the band, of which I was the youngest, said, yeah, well, we all know how that's going to go. Eventually he's going to have to learn to read if he wants to earn a living in this business. Well, as time, as they say, time will tell, and time did tell, and it told us all, or told all them, that they were quite wrong, because the kid who didn't need to learn to read was called Ringo Starr. So for me at that time, dying and going to heaven would have meant that I would be given a job in the great Stan Kenton band. That was my dream, to go to America and to get a job in the great Stan Kenton band. And Stan Kenton was a legend. He was an icon. His band, he was on the road, I think, practically all his life, 20-something years, and he took his band everywhere. And I went as a budding professional musician to see him at the Kilburn State in Kilburn, and that was a huge hall at that time, and I went and was absolutely knocked out because the musicianship was so great. So that was where my dreams were. I never thought much about pop music. Now that changed later, but during that time my idols were quite different. I loved guys like Mark Murphy, Mel Torme, and one guy who wrote great stories which had great songs which had great stories was Oscar Brown Jr. And I had a record, an LP, my only LP that I could get of Oscar Brown Jr., and it had this song on it. So I'm singing a cappella, of course, because I don't have any accompaniment, but this is a song about a guy who goes into a restaurant, and the waitress there has great hips, and he goes into raptures about Hazel's hips, which is the name of the song. So bear with me if I forget the words, but I do have a prompt here. But anyway, Oscar Brown's Hazel's hips. Hazel's hips are a concert of contours and curves as she slips to and fro. Round the table she serves. I buy 6 meals a day in this crummy cafe, 'cause I see Hazel that way. Hazel's eyes are divine, and her hair is so fine, but oh, her hips bring the tips. Hazel's hips have a rhythm so greatly controlled that her trips to the kitchen are joy to behold. I wanna just sit and gaze at the way Hazel sways when she's carrying trays. Hazel's eyes are divine, and her hair is so fine, but oh, her hips bring the tips. And then there's a little trumpet passage in there which goes ba-do-dee-da, do-dee-da, do-dee-da. Not very good trumpet. Da-do-dee-da, ho-do-dee. I made it short. Hazel dips me my soup, serves me my cup of tea. My heart flips when I see Hazel smiling at me. So I say, honey bunch, can I have you for lunch? And Hazel gives me a hunch and says, don't hand me no line about your big eyes so fine, 'cause here's a tip. Hazel's hip. Oh, Hazel's hip. Oh, yeah, Hazel's hip. Hazel's hip. That's as good as I can get it without any music. Hazel's Hip and Oscar Brown Jr. If you ever get the chance to pick up that record, it's called A Man, let me see, well, Oscar Brown Jr., and he has a lot of numbers on there. A number which I tried to sing the other day when I was trying to remember the words. I should have written them down, but I was doing it in the truck, and that was Signifying Monkey. Songs with great stories. So that's my little treat. Well, I sang to you, even though you've done me no harm. I still sang to you. So that's my little trip for this video. It's not exactly late night, but then it is after the time when the sun goes down, which for us here on the hill is late night. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.